Hello, my name is Maya Wright, and today I'll be presenting my curriculum project titled Dairy for Strong Bones, Promoting Dairy Intake Among African Americans. So let's dive in. My primary audience is African American adults aged 26 to 58 who don't consume enough dairy. My goal is to increase the consumption of calcium-rich snacks by African Americans to two or more times per week. I chose this primary audience as obviously you can see in the pictures. These are my family members based on my family, as I have seen firsthand accounts of this issue that they face. To give a little overview of some of the nutrition issues that they face, I chose this group because African Americans are disproportionately affected by conditions like hypertension and heart issues, all of which are worsened by low calcium intake. Addressing this nutritional gap through culturally sensitive education can improve health outcomes and empower individuals to make more informed choices. Calcium intake is a concern in this community due to barriers like cultural preferences, taste aversions, and limited access to affordable calcium-rich foods. This lack of calcium can lead to serious issues like bone loss, osteoporosis, and chronic disease. Some barriers that they also face are sugary snacks often replace nutritious dairy options, and many individuals are unaware of lactose-free or dairy alternative choices that still offer essential nutrients like calcium and vitamin D. To kind of give an overview of my needs assessment, to better understand my audience, I conducted interviews with three individuals in this age group, one being a nurse, one being a teacher, and another being a pastor. From these conversations, three things had emerged. The first thing was time and convenience were major barriers to preparing healthy meals. The second thing was taste and cultural preferences shape their food choices. And the third thing was there was a strong need for practical and easy solutions. And then here you can see some of the barriers that were identified and also their willingness to change. And so I wanted to point out that most participants expressed openness to add in more dairy that was quick, tasty, and didn't disrupt their current routines. So here we have a theoretical model. I chose the Hope Belief model as the foundation of this curriculum, as this model helps address the cognitive factors that influence an individual's decision-making process regarding health behaviors. In this diagram, you can see that each visual element corresponds to a key construct in the model, illustrating the process by which individuals can recognize the need for change, overcome barriers, and feel empowered to improve their calcium intake. And so with all that being said, what is the goal of my curriculum? The goal of my curriculum is to increase calcium consumption among African Americans by promoting awareness and reducing barriers to dairy intake. I hope to help my primary audience increase the consumption of calcium-rich snacks at least two or more times per week while making this change feel approachable, practical, and culturally respectful. And so with that being said, I'm going to have some activities that I would hope to incorporate for my participants to be able to do. The first one being the Dairy Deliciousness Workshop. This objective is to help participants identify at least three dairy-rich foods they incorporate into their meals. And pretty much the activity would be a dairy smoothie bar where participants create customized smoothies using milk, yogurt, or other dairy alternatives, showing that it can be healthy, delicious, and fast. Participants will work in groups to create a smoothie recipe, sharing tips and tricks for incorporating dairy into everyday meals. And participants at the end will taste test each other's smoothies. The next activity is called Calcium Champions. The objective of that is to encourage participants to be more mindful of calcium intake, and the activity would then be the Calcium Pledge. In the Calcium Pledge, participants commit to a personal goal and are paired with a support buddy. This adds a motivational layer to the learning experience. So pretty much overall, they're going to try to hope and make goals and try to make a commitment to incorporating dairy into their diet. The next activity, Calcium Cooking Showdown. The objective of this is for participants to apply their knowledge by identifying calcium-rich foods and creating a healthy meal. The activity would then be the Dairy Cooking Challenge, which is a fun competition where teens cook using dairy ingredients and explaining their nutritional choices, as this reinforces learning through action. The final activity, dairy around the world. The objective is to build awareness and openness to new dairy options, and the activity is a global dairy taste test, as pretty much it'll be a taste test of dairy-rich foods from different cultures. And participants will sample small servings of dairy products from all around the world. And so here is our social media component. I have a website called Dairy Delight where health tip with messages like boost your health with calcium for stronger bones and a happier you will be posted. This will help connect participants digitally and reinforce learning between sessions. And so here we have our logic model, pretty much kind of like a snapshot. Won't talk about it too much, but inputs like what is needed and invested. The inputs include facilitators, ingredients, equipment, and a venue. And then obviously the activities are the 4 interactive workshops, which I just talked about. And then the process measures pretty much how success is tracked. We'll try to do that by tracking attendance, engagement, and doing follow-ups. And then here, obviously, with all that being said, what are the results? There's going to be short-term outcomes, midterm outcomes, and long-term outcomes. Short-term outcomes are the immediate results. And with that, that pretty much is trying to include increased knowledge and identification of dairy options. And then you have the midterm outcomes, intermediate outcomes, whichever one you want to call it. But those are more like the midterm changes. And it's going to show behavior change like regular dairy intake. And then the long-term outcomes, which is obviously the most important one, as this is the future impact. And the outcomes pretty much aim for improved bone health and reduce osteoporosis risk. And so with all that, obviously for this curriculum program to even happen, money does need to be involved. So here's kind of a breakdown of the budget. If you can see here, for starters, the location, kind of like a space rental, we're aiming for $200. Obviously, personnel such as facilitators and volunteers, we're thinking $1,815. We also want to have that added expense for insurance coverage, so that would be $300. And then materials such as like dairy products and cooking tools, we're looking at $2,150. And then we're looking at $1,500 for equipment rentals. And then also $400 for travel reimbursements for like the facilitators and the volunteers that may be coming in, as well as the dietitians. And then also obviously doing the different activities and everything like that. You want to have incentives for the people that win. So then that's looking at $1,000. And then we also want to keep count of other expenses such as evaluation tools or promotional materials, and that would be $500. And so with all that being said, our grand total is $7,865 for our total budget. But here are some of my references listed here. But to pretty much wrap everything up, thank you for watching my presentation on dairy for strong bones, promoting dairy intake among African Americans. By combining cultural sensitivity with practical solutions, we can help bridge the gap in calcium intake and improve long-term health for African Americans. Thank you.